Hey kids, it's Jurassic James, and I'm Jurassic James Explains. We're looking at Skorpiovenator. So as I told you last week, we saw Rajasaurus, and the idea is that I found these two animals at the exact same time in the store. I got super excited, and I bought them, and here we are. So one thing to point out with this guy too is this is my first member of the species, my first member of my collection. So that's always like a reason to celebrate. Um, of course, all the obligatory things in the back. There's all the box art, and more box art, and more box art. But let's take the official scissors of Jurassic James. Let's see, where is the thing I have to cut to free the creature? So Skorpiovenator. They did not like that. Let's see. I know. Oh, where is it? They put it back there really far. It's security measure. There we go. Let's see. So if you, oh right, in the feet. So you have to pull the thing off and turn the foot thing to free the skeleton, the figure. And you turn that one to free the figure. And of course the tail is right in there. This one's actually better secured than the other tail. Let's see. There we go. So, same will apply. Yes, I know, it's very difficult. So there's a row of scales here, row of scales there, smooth, small scales, smooth, so you can tell which side's the top, and it fits in. Now, I don't know why, this tail is not as thick as it should be, but it is, I like it more, it's more, I don't know. So, first and foremost, the name Skorpiovenator means hunter of scorpions. Scorpio, scorpion, Venator, hunter, so Neovenator, all the different dinosaurs. Ethiovenator means hunter. This animal is from Argentina, and the name is misleading because your assumption would be, oh, it ate entirely scorpions, or it would eat scorpions, and then they would be found fossilized in their stomach. And the answer is no. At the dig site, there were just a lot of scorpions, and they're like, name. I do think it's interesting how dinosaur names, like, the earlier ones are very much like descriptive, and sometimes they're just like, this cool thing happened. Anyway, so this guy's found in Argentina. I think his highest claim to fame is there is what's the Prehistoric Planet, a British documentary, mockumentary kind of thing, and they show one eating Argentinosaurus babies in a nest. But that's beside the point. The main thing to point out is this is very nice. It gets to the point. It's a very on the point figure. The first thing you notice, of course, is that the skull is very short and blunt, and in general, I always call this group the Abelisaurs, the bulldog dinosaurs, because they have these like short, compacted skulls. And so I did more of this talk before, but I'll do it again just now to remind you. So basically, Skorpiovenator it's from Argentina, South America, and it's also same location or locality or similar spot to Carnotaurus, but these two never met. And the idea behind that is the geologic time scale. So I often talk about really big swaths of time that the Jurassic Allosaurus never met the Cretaceous T-Rex. But also within each time period, there are breakdowns as well. So within the Cretaceous period, there's the early or lower and late Cretaceous. But even within that, there's even shorter subdivisions. So, for example, Skorpiovenator lived and died, and this layer of rock was deposited, and then later on, the Carnotaurus lived, and then it died, and then there was, the meteor impact and all that. So they would have never met each other, even though they're from the same, modern country, but different region, though, right? So there's one thing to point out there, that when you take all these dinosaurs and you separate them by first location and then time, you're seeing that in many environments, we only have 7 to 20 dinosaurs in that one environment. So if you're going through time and space, you can see different things. That being said, we have our Skorpiovenator here, and I want to point out its relative. So here's the Carnotaurus, the meat-eating bull, the Rajasaurus, the princely lizard, Majungasaurus from Madagascar, and of course, not Carnotaurus, Ceratosaurus. So again, these guys, these four, are the Abelisaurs. It's like a band, the Abelisaurs. Anyway, but the idea is that the Abelisaur group, as I mentioned before, falls under the Ceratosaurus group. And these guys are more closely related to Ceratosaurus than they are to the bird dinosaurs that are seen later on. It's a group called Tenaturan, and they have these bony tendons in their tails, basically. So what is the big deal with these guys in general? Well, I want to give you an analogy on this concept with ecology. So when dinosaurs first evolved, it is one giant supercontinent called Pangea, and dinosaurs pretty much look the same. I mean, you look at a Centaurus and you look at a Coelophysis, they're like similar body plans. When Pangea begins to break up, we start seeing different groups evolving. So the idea is that you would think with the landmass breaking up, you would have smaller dinosaurs, but instead we get bigger dinosaurs. You say, well, why? Well, the idea is that when you have a giant supercontinent, there's only really green around the outside. Food, resources, ecology. The middle's a giant desert. When you break up the continent, that waters flow through there, and we get more green space, more food, more environments that are conducive to larger life forms. So what we see basically is, and Pangea breaks up first, north and south. So the idea is that you have North America, Europe, and Asia, called Eurasia. In South America, Africa, India, Australia, Madagascar, Antarctica, they're all together. So what happens basically is the Abelisaur group evolved in the south for the most part, whereas the Tyrannosaurs, which I mentioned this last time, we have Tyrannosaurus rex in this case, using strictly Jurassic World figures. Tyrannosaurus rex, Albertosaurus, where's he from? Tarbosaurus from Asia, Mongolia, and then these guys. So the idea is that we're seeing convergent evolution in that we start seeing these shorter faces, these bigger crushing bites, and shorter arms. Whereas the Allosaurus group have more narrow skulls for snipping and cutting, and large claws for fighting. That's a different design. So these two groups are not related to each other, other than being theropods, the bigger picture, but they still have very similar designs. Now, why does that matter to us? Because where Skorpiovenator lives, these are not to scale. It lives with Mapusaurus, and at this point, if, you've either seen or heard of Giganotosaurus. It's a new big baddie in Jurassic World Dominion. So Giganotosaurus is a part of a big family. There will be a video on that as soon as I get the newest toy. But the idea is Giganotosaurus, South America, Mapusaurus, South America, and then Carcharodontosaurus in Africa. Those are these guys who are I always say they're Allosaurus or steroids. In the Jurassic period, we have Allosaurus, and in the Cretaceous period, we have these guys. They're huge animals, way bigger. So these are not to scale, by all means, no. But where Skorpiovenator lives with Mapusaurus, it also lives with Argentinosaurus, one of the largest animals to ever live on the earth, on land. And again, none to scale. They do not make large Argentinosaurus models. I don't know why. It seems to be perplexing. I get it. I love Brachiosaurus. It's my fave. But we need a big Argentinosaurus model, please. I'd buy 3, So that's what we're seeing. So we see Argentinosaurus, Mapusaurus, and Skorpiovenator in the same environment, right? So in the northern hemisphere at this time, we have duckbills and horned dinosaurs and ankylosaurs in great numbers. But in the southern hemisphere in the Cretaceous period, we have this. This is important because in the Jurassic period of the North America, the Morrison Formation, instead of Argentinosaurus, you would have Brachiosaurus. Instead of Mapusaurus, you would have, Allosaurus. And instead of Skorpiovenator, you would have Ceratosaurus. So what you're seeing is the southern hemisphere, particularly South America, essentially mimics the Jurassic North America. So in the Jurassic North America, you would have seen Ceratosaurus, Allosaurus, and a bunch of sauropods. In South America, Cretaceous period, you see an Allosaurid relative, Mapusaurus, a bunch of sauropods, and this guy. So it's like they kind of copied and pasted the late Jurassic design in the Cretaceous period. Because in the north, we have raptors evolving. We have, horned dinosaurs, duckbills, those guys, Tyrannosaurs. But here we have this holdover. So that to me is why this figure is so important. It's just, it's just a toy, I know. But the fact that it's showing these trends. And in paleontology, kids love, I get it. You love to memorize and name species. I get that. It's just, what I do. But when you look at the bigger picture and see how things are evolving and changing over time, you really appreciate it on a deeper level. It's kind of like when I drive out west and people will see a mountain and go, what a beautiful mountain with beautiful clouds. It's like, no, I know the mountain was made when 2 continents came together and uplifted into this, structure. That's, you appreciate it more, right? So that being said, with our Skorpiovenator, I will point out that it has this very neat row of scales. I do not recall them saying they found much skin patterns in the dig, but I will say this, that the Abelisaur group are known for having these kind of bumps and plates, and in general, they're considered, quote, ugly dinosaurs in some ways, particularly Meganosaurus, because they have these short, wide noses and faces, and these bumps and ridges on their face, and and it's like ossified acne. I'm kidding, but the idea is that these guys have this different look, and they're evolving in different regions in the south. Like again, we have Rajasaurus in India, this guy in Argentina, Magenosaurus in Madagascar, Conosaurus in South America at a different time. So we're seeing this kind of family as they spread out, and we're finding more and more of them, which is really kind of cool. And so for me personally, it's a really great deal, a big deal to have so many Abelisaurs, a group of animals no one knew existed really, outside of paleontology, and now they're just like in stores, and that's really cool. And for me personally, I know that if you're going to see this figure in the store, or even in a movie possibly, that you're going to start seeing more of these guys being made by Papo, Flari, Shi. They tend to want to make Brachiosaurus, T-Rex, Raptor, Allosaurus, Stegosaurus, Triceratops over and over again. They do it every year. But I like the fact that they're making new species, different species, because I think we're beyond just like the central 10, So anyway, oh right, the review part. So we have the 3 toes in the front and the dew claw, the little claw. They often will just sculpt it in right there. It's really unassuming. Again, I would believe the hand or forelimb would have 4 digits, because you see that in the few forelimbs we find of the other Abelisaurs, they have 4 digits. Now, are those 4 digits always clawed? No. They're just little nubs on the side that kind of stick out, and they are truly vestigial. Whereas Tyrannosaurus arms can still move around. They don't really touch each other, but they're pretty muscular for what they are. These guys' arms are really tiny. So that's the one thing I will say about the Abelisaurs of Jurassic World Dominion series, is that their arms are actually they're still too long in many cases. They often refer to these guys as like hot dog dinosaurs or wiener dinosaurs because their heads kind of, the way the back of the skull attaches, which we see it in Rajasaurs, we actually have that part. We can see where the skull kind of attaches at certain angles, so the bodies are very sausage shaped with these 2 legs walking out below them. So that's one of the things that kind of point out how they look and how they act and interact, how they looked and move possibly. But again, the pattern of skin and scales is unknown, so that part's like speculative, but just it's really a cool look at. I mean, it's really a neat animal in its own right. It's very ugly. If you look at it head on, it's just not a puppy face that you want to take home and clean up and put a hat on it, Anyway, so that is Skorpiovenator, the scorpion hunter from Argentina, who possibly ate sauropods babies. Very low on the pecking order of the environment. I mean, they're living on all these giant long necks, so they're not going to be taking on the really big adults. They're going to be taking on either smaller, like juveniles, or smaller animals. But it's a really interesting ecology. Oh, right, I forgot to tell you this. They do this thing where you pull that out and you can see their DNA code. And I'm pretty sure that means a kid can take a phone and scan that and do internet stuff. Oh yeah. Hey, what's the trigger? Was that the trigger? No. Is that a button? Oh, there it is. Okay, I forgot to show that part too. Oh no, that's not it. That's not it either. How do you make it do noise? Is it just pushing the head down? That's cool. Whatever. I'm not in it for the gimmick. I'm here for the science, right? That being said, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in, and next week we will see something called Miragia, a very long neck stegosaurus that's from Portugal. Hey YouTube, thank you for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification, and it's like a list. That's like there's a list of things you must do. Thank you for doing those things, and like I said, I do these videos because I just like talking about these toys and sharing information, because I mean, I can't take them to work and be like, look at these toys. I have like real fossils like there. So anyway, thank you very much. I'll see you guys later.